I would like you to listen prayerfully and see the images as we begin our presentation. Okay? In fact, if you listen to this song, it contains what all I would like to share with you and what the Eucharistic adoration can do and the effect of it in our personal life is beautifully captured in a song. So that's why I thought I will present to you. Okay? Unfortunately, because of the sound system, it's not working properly. So I'm trying to play it from my phone. Hope you will be able to listen. The verses are very, very important. Pay attention to it because that captures the essence.
In your presence, I find mercy, I find healing, I find peace. In your presence, I'm drawn into you like a river flows to the sea. In your presence is where I belong. In your presence is where I long to be. I have read your words to me and talked to you for hours and listened in the silence of my heart. But kneeling here before you, there is no need to speak. It's enough for me just to be here. In your presence, I find mercy, I find healing, I find peace. In your presence, I'm drawn into you like a river flows to the sea. In your presence is where I belong. In your presence is where I long to be. Beyond all understanding, the mercy of this grace, to be here in the presence of my Lord. One day within your temple heals every day alone. Source of healing waters fill my soul. In your presence, I find mercy, I find healing, I find peace. In your presence, I'm drawn into you like a river flows to the sea. In your presence is where I belong. In your presence is where I long to be. In your presence
talk father discourage people. Yeah.
Good morning to everyone. I'm very happy to be again with you. I'll make this presentation on Eucharistic Adoration as we heard from that beautiful song. In His presence, we experience His mercy. In His presence, we experience His peace. In His presence, we experience the healing. That is it. There, He not only talked to us, but we talk to Him the intimate things. So therefore, let's begin our presentation with that beautiful prayer every time when we expose the Blessed Sacrament. Let's pray together. O Sacrament most holy, O Sacrament divine, all praise and all thanksgiving be every moment thine. Lord Jesus Christ, who for the love you bear us, remain night and day in the sacrament, we adore you. Before I come to the presentation, let me share with you my personal experience, as I always do. My brothers and sisters, even though I grew up in a family of very, very devout Catholic, and every Friday, Saturday, we as a family used to go for Eucharistic adoration. Some days my dad could not come, but my mother was there to take us for the Eucharistic adoration. I never have understood the power of Eucharistic adoration and the effect that it has on me, not even during my formation to priesthood, not even in the first few years of my priestly ordination, even though I can say I was very, very close to Jesus. I love what the sacrament. I used to spend hours in front of the Blessed Sacrament. The thing that really touched and transformed and my love for adoration is changed is the incident that I am going to share with you. I was appointed as the rector of a new seminary that was again in the process of building up. And we were 25 seminarians who were just to be ordained in the last stage of their formation, and I was at the age of just 31 after 3 years of my ordination. The construction of that particular seminary is almost done, but was not fully done. So when the previous rector handed over to me, he told, we are in a financial crisis situation. I have not received money from the province or from our religious congregation much. What I am having, I am handing over to you. So 3 months passed. I did not get any informations or contributions, and I was struggling day in and day out how to feed the seminarians, 25 of them, how to pay the school fee because we were going to begin the second semester. One day it reached a point where the one who was dealing with the mess, the refectory, came and told, Father, for provision for tomorrow is not there. Provision for tomorrow to give to the ladies who are coming for cooking, it is not there. Then he asked me what to do. I said, Usually, I was very anxious. My heart was like, what to do. I could not turn to anybody because not like having mobile phone at that moment. It is back in 2002, I am sharing the experience. And I had to travel to our headquarters in order to explain to the priest responsible. It will take almost one day, whole day of traveling. And we do not have a reliable vehicle to travel either. So that was not an option. So I thought in my mind, I will borrow some money from a neighboring house. The priest, I will explain to him. I made all the strategy that way, the following day, not that day. So then I decided to expose the Blessed Sacrament. First of all, I myself went and just knelt before the Blessed Sacrament. And I just told Jesus, I don't know what all this means. I am incapable of finding a solution to the problem that I am facing here. You tell me. Meantime, actually, the seminarians, theology students were in the classes in the seminary where they go. That's almost 2 miles away where the seminary. I'm just there, kneeling down, praying, sometimes, sleeping, because of the anxiety. It's the truth, I'm telling you, I just poured out my heart, crying, sometimes sleeping, from almost 9:30 till 11:30, 12 o'clock. Then I thought I need to tell to my seminarians the situation. So that afternoon, after the lunch, I told, we are having a Eucharistic adoration. This is the situation. I did not tell the full story of our situation. And then, this is what happened. The Eucharistic adoration was going on. They were taking turn. Around 4:30, 5 o'clock, we heard a door, the bell of the, rang. Then I asked one of them to go and find out who he is looking for. And then he came. It is a European from Germany who came to visit you and to say hello, that's all. Okay, I just came down and he greeted me. I have never seen him. I have never heard about him. I have no address about him. But he explained, we know so and so, the missionaries of St. Francis de Sales, and we are so fond of your priests who are working in Germany, and they have told us about your mission here in Tanzania and all that. He was just explaining as if he knew all things. And he said, Father, I know that you are in a difficult situation for last 1 year or so with regard to your seminary and all that. Here is the check that I would like to give you because, you can take care of the seminary. And I tell you, that was almost 50,000 euros. 50,000 euro way back in 2002. Then he said, Father, goodbye, best luck with the formation of the seminarians. I'm going. I tried to find out the name that he has given and the address to which he has given. Still today, I have not found such a person. I asked our fathers who came and explained to me with all the characteristics. Until today, I'm trying to explain because I can see the face of that person. I can hear all what he told me, and I shared to numerous priests who had been in that area ministering, who has the parish. My brothers and sisters, it is my firm belief that when you give what troubles you to Jesus, He provides. Ever since 2002, until today, I have not doubted about God providing for you and me. That was my personal experience until today. And that is why my love for the Eucharist and Eucharistic adoration is so tremendous. And this is what I teach our seminarians. In the difficult moments of your life, whether as an individual person, whether as a family, whether as a community, do not run to other things. Come to Jesus. I was from the morning, maybe probably till 10 o'clock, from 8:30 when he informed, up to 10 o'clock. I was trying to fix the problem in my mind, trying to see whom shall I contact, how I will borrow the money, how I will do things, etc. And that brought lot of anxiety, lot of fear. And I said, there is no solution to this problem. But the moment I decided within my heart, this is what I am going to do. I will just expose the Blessed Sacrament just before put the altar. I will just kneel down. I tell to Jesus, this is what I am experiencing. The whole thing changed. He did not give an answer in a way to me, but I am sure he answers in the way he likes it best. My brothers and sisters, that is my personal experience. And until today, I insist to our seminarians is the beauty of this Eucharistic adoration. So I am going to share from my experiences and from the teachings of the church and the saints, the contemporary saints who have really valued the Eucharistic adoration, just to share with you a few things. I'm sure you can never ever able to understand this deepest mystery of God giving himself in the Eucharist. It's a deep mystery. Nobody on earth until today could understand, and I don't think I am going to explain not even one bit of that one to you, but just a few things I believe would be helpful to love Jesus in the Eucharist, to adore him and to spend time. Majority of the priests, majority of the seminarians, majority of the lay people today think that spending time before the Eucharistic adoration is a waste of time. Am I right? Is this a waste of time? No. This is the best investment you can give in your life. That's what I tell. This is the best investment that you can give in your life. I know the other activities, but the Eucharistic presence has to continue. That's why even if you go only 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, that's fine, because the Eucharist draws you to the heart of Jesus more and more, and to the heart of the Father. This is very, very important. We are living in a world, as we see, lot of activism. The fulfillment comes only when we do a certain activity. That is the opposite that Jesus tells us in the Eucharistic adoration. That's why the Most Holy Eucharist is the principal sacrament. It is the very heart of Christian worship. We are created to worship God. We are created to worship and adore the Creator. And therefore, in this, what happens, we watch and wait, we remain in silence, we open ourselves to His grace, which flows from His Eucharistic heart to us. And when a flow of grace, we need to receive. We need to receive. Suppose you have got a tap that opens the water every day morning as you wake up. If there is a block, what happens? You don't get it, am I right? Yes or no? There are dust or there are some things that blocks the way. What happens? That is why in the Eucharist, in the Eucharistic adoration, the flow of the heart of God is given. That is why church is so particular in sharing this experience. Again, my brothers and sisters, my love for Eucharist became very, very, I would say passionately, I got interested because I had the privilege to meet with actually Mother Teresa of Calcutta. In fact, just 2 years before she died. And I did it when I was actually in the final year of my theology, when I was actually editing the book for our the college campus or the seminary campus. So I made an interview with actually Mother Teresa of Calcutta. You know, again, to share with you the personal experience. When I went, Mother came out very fragile, you know, she was that time almost moving like that, you know. And that time I was a deacon, so she just held my hand, just kissed it, and she said, we go to the chapel where the Blessed Sacrament is exposed. The Mother just knelt, you know, with a very fragile, and she could not, you know, but still struggling and just frustrating herself. And that really touched my heart. And he said, Father Tom, that time I was a deacon, brother deacon, if you want to experience the love of God in your life, come to the Eucharist. Come to the Eucharist. And that's why in 1973, she actually made it as a compulsory in her religious congregation to have perpetual adoration. That's why every sister has to spend the time before the Blessed Sacrament. And she said, once she was made an interview, they said, how many convents that you have? She said, I have 173 tabernacles in the world. That's what she said. 173 tabernacles in the world. And she said, what I adore in the face of Jesus is what I see when I go out in the streets. What I adore in the Jesus is what I see when I go out. And I want my sisters, I want my fathers, I want all the Christians to experience the same. Because in the Eucharistic adoration, the face of Jesus become very clear to you. It draws you, it attracts you, it invites you, it in fact captures you so much that when you go out, when you look at the eyes of your brothers and sisters, and especially those who are struggling, those who have pain, those who have difficulty, those who are abandoned, you are able to see the face of Jesus. And this is what actually made the difference. The one congregation that made the difference is because she said we made the difference not because of our charism, not because of the activity that the sisters did, but because of the Eucharistic adoration. And that's why I think you must have heard this famous quote when she came here. She was asked, isn't it? What we need, what will convert America and save the world? This is what she said. It's not my words. This is what she said. She said, prayer. What we need is for every parish, every family, every individual person to come before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament in the holy hours of prayer. Not just one holy hour, but in the holy hours of prayer. It's very important. Many of us are trying to find a solution to the problems that we face in our family. Maybe we are trying to see a solution what is experiencing in the society. I think in the Eucharist, in the adoration, certain things can be done. I think the best examples we have, some of them I will try to share as we go. Now, many people ask me why it is so important. And I was trying to, I am not telling that I understand perfectly, but this is my answer. When you look at the crucifix, you understand how much Jesus loved you, which is of a past experience. Am I right? Something that has happened, something that has, we can go on, explain about that one. This is what Jesus did for me. This is what Jesus achieved in the cross. So as I always said, this is something objective here. Something that has happened. Am I right? Yes or no? What happens in the adoration? When you look at the sacred host, you understand how Jesus loves you here and now, in the present moment. And it will become a personal experience, a tangible experience. Is it enough that I remember again and again what my father did 20 years before? 15 years before? No. You see a child again and again reaffirms when you as a mother just holds him and say, my son, I love you, and give a kiss to the forehead. That immediacy of experience actually gives him the best of the experience, the transforming experience, yes or no? Or you say, okay, 20 years before when you were young, I gave you a kiss. You think about that, that's enough, yes or no? Not enough. That is why in the Eucharistic adoration, what happens is the personal intimacy that you share. It is not an objective experience of an event that has happened on the cross, that happens in the Holy Eucharist as we celebrate the Mass, as we will come to that one. But it is the personal experience where I as a person is once again held very close to the heart of God, held by Jesus. That experience rejuvenates, that experience enlivens, that experience actually strengthens, that experience gives you peace. And that is why it is so important. That is, I think, we need to understand. We need to come to that one. Can I teach about this one? Can you teach to your son and daughter how you have to take care when they have children? Not much. They will learn more from you the way that you are affectionate, the way you care about them, the way you take care of them, the way you fondle them. They will say, yeah, that memory, that personal experience is what is going to carry. Yes or no? That's why it has to be repeated again and again. So this is what happens in the adoration of the Holy Eucharist. What has happened on the cross become a living experience here and now for me, and my God embraces me so deeply in the Eucharist. And this is what has to take place. And that's why Eucharistic adoration is so important. remember that time you spend with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament is the best time you will spend on earth. Each moment that you spend with Jesus will deepen your union with Him and make your soul everlastingly more glorious and beautiful in heaven, and will help bring about everlasting peace on earth. This is again the words of Mother Teresa. If you ask, what is the most beautiful time that you have spent on earth? For Mother Teresa, she would say, the time that you spend with Jesus before the Blessed Sacrament. That it touches you and transforms you. This is so important, my brothers and sisters. Unfortunately, over the years, the importance of Eucharistic adoration is downplayed, and that is why we are not having, because of various reasons. So, He wished to perpetuate His adorable human presence among us after ascending into heaven. Because, as I said, God wanted in His Son Jesus a continual presence where we can experience His love, where we can understand how much He loves us, how He walks us in the journey of our life. And that is the only way He can do that one, is the Holy Communion, is the shortest and the safest way to heaven. Eucharist is a solution to that problem of the distance that we experience from God. So, if somebody asks me, what is the difference between heaven and the earth? What's the difference between God and me? The difference can be bridged just by sitting before the Blessed Sacrament. Through Jesus, we are able to experience, in adoration, we are experiencing heaven itself. That's what we have seen in the song, in your presence. In your presence we become heavenly. In His presence we are able to once again experience. That is why let's look at what the church is teaching. Look at some of the one of the popes that I love him, and the Eucharist that I really hold him is actually John Paul II. I know, all of us know. It's not. He was a brilliant man. Why we meet Jesus in the Eucharistic? Because he said, there is nothing so great as the Eucharist, because there is no other way in which today we can understand the heart of God. He was a brilliant man, as you know. Even he traveled when he was actually a professor of theology and philosophy all over the world. Whichever seminary he went, the only thing that he used, if you read his biography, the only thing that he used to ask for is to spend the time before the Blessed Sacrament. The only thing that he asked for is, please give me the time to spend the time before the Eucharistic Lord in the adoration. If you look at the way that he changed the lives of people, it's because he loved the adoration and the Holy Eucharist. Again, we know Pope Francis, what he has said, the church and the world have a great need of Eucharistic adoration, because this is the personal invitation to you from Jesus. Jesus waits for you in this sacrament of love. Jesus is counting on you, because the Eucharist is the center of life. Our with the Blessed Sacrament to be repair for evils of the world. I don't know if you have heard about what happened in Mexico, what has happened in Baltimore. I think there is I was just following the story. If you have time, you can look up, Baltimore is not doing well, am I right? There is a priest who have made a decision to have the Eucharistic adoration 24/7. And he says his neighborhood has drastically changed. You can look at that interview maybe in YouTube. I think there is a write-up about that one. You know what happened in Mexico and Rio, There is a priest who decided, if you look at these things are facts, it is being changed. Because it was almost drug addicts, lot of illegal problems, abuse, families were shattering, all that. And what did he do? A priest decided to have 24/7 Eucharistic adoration. It began to change the entire city, the entire town. Yes, Eucharistic adoration has the power to change and transform the life of not only individuals, but also it has the power to change communities and situations of life. So again, another Pope that was very much insisting on and has given the remedy for the problems that we face. Our society, he tells, sacrament of love shall be at the center of the life of people of God, so that through all the manifestation of worship, due him shall be given by love for love and truly become the life of our souls. Day and night, Jesus dwells in the Blessed Sacrament because you are the most important person in the world to him. Let us be generous with our time to meet Jesus and be ready to make reparation for the evils of the world. That is why it is so important. My brothers and sisters, the problem, we are so engrossed in ourselves that we do not have time to look at some of these things, what the church tells us through these people. If you look at actually the retired life of Pope Benedict, most of the time he spends before the Blessed Sacrament. That's what he wanted. And the rest of the time he meditates and writes. He meditates and writes in front of the Blessed Sacrament. The transformation of your intellect, the transformation of your will, the transformation of your heart takes place in front of the Blessed Sacrament as you spend time with. And that is why it is so important. So Jesus wants you to do more than to go Mass on Sunday. Now why? Why it is so? Eucharist or Mass is a communal worship where the entire community is gathered together in worship. What is Eucharistic adoration? Eucharistic adoration is the personal worship where you make a personal choice to come and sit before the Lord and to experience his love. As I told you, my brothers, you can have so many general things told to you. Unless and until it becomes a personal experience, it will not remain with you and you cannot change and touch the lives of people. As a mother, as a father, how will you really able to take care of the souls of your children unless you are touched by Jesus? I think in my previous presentations I have shared with you, we all of us take care of the intellectual and the material needs of our children, and that is our priority, yes or no? How many of us will take as a priority the soul and the spiritual dimension of my children? My children is precious before God, and how will I make a pathway for him? And that is very important. Unfortunately, our culture and our traditions do not spend the time on that. Is it not the truth? Because what is more important is the material thing which can be tangibly experienced. What is important is the intellectual things that they can. Oh, that so-and-so went to such a university, had a great, he is making billions of dollars. Oh, very happy, very happy. Am I right? Yes or no? Billions of dollars when you die is gone. What about your afterlife when you go there? Your soul will be? And that is why it is so important that you as a father, you as a mother, it has to become an experience. When it becomes a personal experience, you posture it daily. If it is not an experience, as I told you, you will not even, what others will say if I don't go for Sunday Mass, So dash and get out, I have seen some of the people, looking at the watch, when it is 30 minutes or 40 minutes, it's already time, you see. Their heart is not there. Their heart and time is on the watch, is not okay. Because you have a next appointment to go to a restaurant where you can spend maybe how many hours? 2 hours, 3 hours, yes or no? Am I right, yes or no? Whereas to spend just 1 hour before the Eucharistic, Lord, we don't have to. I am very busy. That's what we say. Am I right, yes or no? During the course of our day. My dear friends, this is very important because remember, Eucharistic adoration is the personal worship that the Lord is inviting you and me to do it. The other one is the communal worship. In this, since it's a personal, we need to personally respond, unfortunately. There is no other way. There is no other way. And this personal responsibility that the Lord gives is very important. So, I would say this is very important, and this is the Catholic Church's teaching as well, but unfortunately not being reinforced again and again by our complete love is Mass and personal adoration together. It has to go. That means how I personally adore and encounter Jesus is what is brought to the Eucharistic celebration and shared in the community. What I share, the breaking of the bread in the community, is again what is going back to my personal life. This has to go hand in hand. It is not one and it is against the other. Only then I think our life becomes very important. So, moment with Eucharist we grow spiritually in the climate of the Holy Eucharist. If Holy Eucharist is the center of our Christian life, how many of us can say that the Holy Eucharist is the center of my spiritual life? It is the center of the nourishment of my soul, and that actually nourishes, sustains, and governs everything that I do in my personal life, in the life of my family, in the life of my relationship with others. Only when that culture begins a change and a transformation. This is what precisely Mother Teresa of Calcutta did for her congregation. A Eucharistic spirituality, a spirituality that centers the whole of your life on the Eucharist. Eucharist is not just a 45 minutes of the celebration where you look at what is happening. Most of us will look what that fellow is doing, this fellow is doing. It's communal in that sense, it's okay, but it is a personal, it has to happen. Only then the real Eucharistic heart will be formed. When the Eucharistic heart is formed, society is transformed, parish community is transformed, families are transformed, society is transformed. If you ask me the question, how you and me can change the world, I have only one answer. Let Eucharist become the center of your life. Let Eucharist become the center of your personal choices and decision. I can say this, after having made a lot of interviews in my preparation for this one. I have interviewed quite a number of people, even in our parish, as well as with so many people in and around the world when I was making a preparation. And from my own life, I can tell you, my dear friends, best time spent on earth is with Jesus, your best friend is in the Blessed Sacrament. There is no friend who will understand you as intimately, not even your spouse. Sorry to say. The most intimate thing that you want to share, you can go there and tell, this is what. And he is there. He just listens to you, ever ready. Experience it. And that experience has to come. It is nothing. Then when you share the consoling effect of it, am I right? You remember the words that we heard at the beginning, the healing, the consolation that we get. Nothing efficacious, because then it becomes contagious. It really changes you. So when your son runs and comes and tells you something, your daughter comes and tells you, you are able to really get it. When the world in front of you are in turmoil, you are able to understand and handle it. And that is why this is so important. That is why in all my spiritual directions, whether it is to seminarians, priests or bishops, or even to other lay people, the road to holiness, as said by our own patron St. Francis de Sales, is knowing and spending time with the Eucharistic Lord. And that changes our entire life and the perspectives of life. So, Joe, please tell me the time to stop, because I have so many things to share. So, when it is time, you can tell me. So, I would like to have some discussions, also sharings from you, because I know that some of you have personal experiences of adoration. Okay? So, I don't want to go on. As I said, all this will be given to you. Joe will send it to you, so I don't want to go on, because I have some, I think 45 slides, so I cannot be able to exhaust, as I said. I prepared almost 150, and so I cut down to this, because as I told you, all these are coming from my own personal experiences and sharings, and therefore I thought something that will be meaningful. But as I have told you, I cannot even give a tiny bit about the Eucharistic and the importance of adoration, because nobody can exhaust it, the way in which you encounter Jesus, because he is so infinite. He is so, So, we say Christ, Jesus is Emmanuel, is God with us. So, how that experience happens in our daily life. So, in a world where there is so much of noise, so much bewilderment, there is a need for silent adoration of Jesus concealed in the Blessed Sacrament. That is why Pope Benedict says, be studious in the prayer of adoration and teach it to the faithful. It is a source of comfort and light, particularly to those who are suffering. I will share with you another experience. I had been counseling a couple for a period of time, and they came. They had actually 4 children. They came to a point where they really want to get divorced. They said, we cannot, the husband came and told, I cannot no longer live with this lady. And the lady came and told me, in my presence they were actually almost like able to have even a fight. So, what I did, I did not, I tried all my means of counseling, my experiences of sharing everything, nothing worked. So, the next time when I made the appointment, I told, you are not going to see me in my office. We, all 3 of us, will just walk into our chapel. All the 3 of us will go and walk into the chapel. We 3 of us just sat down. The husband sat down near to me on the right side, and the other wife sat down me on I just sat on the middle. And I said, whatever you want to tell, you just tell to Jesus, You tell how much. We spent almost 4 hours. Almost 4 hours. Yelling at and this one, because the seminarians had already gone for the classes, and that was another beautiful experience. Yelling at each other and telling Jesus, what happened and all that. Then I said, I want to use the restroom, and if you feel like talking to each other, now is the time where you can talk to. You know what happened? When I came back, I could not believe, my brothers and sisters. They embraced each other and said, I am sorry, we are sorry. He said, Father, we have no problem, we are going back. And they live as they are raising 4 beautiful children. I think the eldest one is in the university doing the master's degree. Of course, they are coming from a little financially difficult at the moment, but I am helping them for their studies. But a beautiful family. I tell you, sometimes we think this was one of my beautiful experiences, because I tried all my intellectual knowledge and the psychology that I have ever learned. I consulted so many people, and I said, this is my final answer to this one. If it does not work, I leave it to the Lord. You take care. But I tell you, this is what, just I exposed the Blessed Sacrament, we sat together 4 hours. They were, the things that they said, even I cannot tell anything of that sort. But I think that is what happens. You can tell the Lord, this is what happens. You can tell Him, and that's what I said, it grace, it nourishes, it strengthens, it consoles, and all these come together in a fraction of a second in that Eucharistic adoration. And I have beautiful experiences of so many people, especially priests who have gone through, difficult time. Even I am in touch with a few of the bishops, whether it is in Tanzania, in other places. They are all tell me, in the Eucharistic adoration, in the Eucharist, they are touched, and the family people, the family problems are transformed. My brothers and sisters, I can go on and on explaining my experiences, even with the youth, in the transformation of the lives. Maybe about the youth, one more thing I will share with you, and then I will end. Because youth nowadays, they don't come. Am I right? Yes or no? Okay. I will tell about this youth who was abused. I mean, he was abused as a young child by his own relative, and then he became a aggressive abuser later in his early adolescent, and by the time when we encountered in this one he was 24 or 25. He was abusing so many people in this one, and also his own girlfriend. Even I think he was trying to kill her because he was in love with another girl, and tried to poison her in the drink that he was trying to give her. You remember the one whom he was loving, but because of the abusive things and what has happened, the anger, the things that he was going on in his life was tremendous, and therefore, So then this happened when I was actually in UK, when I was looking after the parish while I was doing my PhD. So the parents brought him to me, and I journeyed with this man. Again, this is what he changed in the Eucharistic adoration on Fridays. Friday from 3 o'clock up to 8 o'clock we had the adoration. 7 we have the full adoration where the whole community people could come, and then we'll end, and then we used to have a meal together, those who are able to come the weekend. And he brought actually more and more youth to this particular experience. It touched him, and he is a big ambassador now of Eucharist actually in Wales as a very good Catholic. The Eucharistic adoration that has changed and transformed him. So my brothers and sisters, as I said, I have many things, but you can go on. It is I want to end with the Pope Francis of Assisi. Francis of Assisi. So he is hidden the sacred host under the appearance of bread. He is calling us to faith. Go to him with humility. In this world I cannot see the most high Son of God with my own eyes, except for his most blood and body. And in a very personal and profound way, you are seeing him in the adoration. That is the experience. That is what Pope Francis of Assisi tells us. So let us desire, let us develop that desire for Jesus in the adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. And I think we have a beautiful opportunity here in our parish. I think Monday to Friday we have the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament from 7:30 until 12 or 1. I don't know the time. It's a beautiful experience, and I thank all of you who come. I think majority of you are sitting here are going to that Eucharistic adoration. I tell you, it will change. I have some other things, how it changes family, changes your relationship with other people, etc. You can look at those slides later. So I will stop here. Otherwise, as I said, I will go on. I would like to listen to some of your personal experiences in the Blessed Sacrament. Thank you, and God bless you. I stopped because it is 10:30. I saw it in the watch. 1 hour, okay? So I have to give time for you to have some, okay? Sharing, talking, yeah. Please. Yes.
Father, as it relates to the Blessed Sacrament, what is the difference between loving and adoring the Blessed Sacrament?
Yeah. Adoration is only due. Adoration is a form of love. Love has various shades and dimensions. Adoration is due to God alone. and God in his Son Jesus is adored. And that's why we love, for example, Blessed Mother, but we don't adore, because she is a creature, not a creator. And that is why we say she is the first and the perfect disciple of Jesus. Even though Jesus was born of Mary, Mary is the first and the perfect disciple whom we imitate in love. We love her, but we do not adore. So, love and adoration. In love has various dimensions. In adoration, actually, we surrender whole of our life to the Creator who is God and in his Son Jesus. That is what happens in the Holy Eucharist. But of course, adoration cannot really fully happen unless and until you develop love in its fullness. Yes.
For someone who can't go in person physically to adoration, I know that there's online adoration from some of the places. Is that really the same thing?
Yeah, it is definitely, because
It's a
you
good
spend the
substitute.
time with the Eucharistic Lord, intending upon that one. My mother did that one for so many years because she was almost handicapped, because she fell down, broke her legs. And so my sister-in-law or my brother used to keep the Blessed Sacrament exposed in the perpetual adoration. That's where she used to sit and does her prayer and intently looking upon that one. Definitely, that's a possibility. But those of us who are able, definitely, because the physical presence with the Eucharistic Lord in front of you, that cannot be taken away. That's an experience of its own. But if there is a problem with regard to invalidity or not able to go, definitely there is a way that you are again captured into. Absolutely no problem. Yeah. Yes.
So, you said, and I love this, that you said the way to change the world is through adoration, right?
Yeah.
Through time with Jesus. And, so we've just experienced an insane year and a half. So, Satan's minions, acting in the form of government officials throughout the world or whatever, what did they do? They kept us away from the Lord, right? So I'm kind of predicting that's going to happen again. And we're going to have to make a choice as Catholics if we allow that to happen again. Because St. Charles Borromeo, during the Black Plague, he was out giving people Holy Communion. That was like a real plague, you know what I mean? Yeah, so he went out. So if we see, you can't just blame it on the clergy, although they have more responsibility to open our churches than we do. But we have the responsibility to tell them to open our churches, to encourage them to do what St. Charles Borromeo did and what the saints did in all our church history. And that was not to throw incense to the Roman gods. That was to stand up for Jesus. So I don't put it all on the clergy, although they have the most responsibility because they took that vow. I put it on the laity to not be passive and weak, and to also throw incense to the Roman gods and say, well, they closed the churches, what are we going to do? So I'm just saying, we need to stand for God under all circumstances. And what do we have to lose? We have to lose heaven if we don't.
Yeah, let me share. Yeah. Sorry if you finished. Yeah, let me share with you as we in Tanzania. You must have heard in the news. Our president, unfortunately, he died due to heart attack. He was a Catholic, and he never made any shutdowns, but rather nationally declared at the height of the COVID that we will have 3 days of prayer. And all the churches were opened, and he personally told the priests and the bishops, make sure that the churches are opened and celebrate the Eucharist. because at this moments of anxiety, you need to be close to the people, and do Eucharist has to be celebrated. So it happened. Of course, there are reasons, etc. I'm not able to give any political comments on these things at the moment, or with regard to who is right and wrong. We are not making moral judgments and decisions. But one thing I can assure you is that what we need is, let us be faithful in our own individual personal life. Individual personal life of coming to the Eucharist, adoration, and being faithful is the most important thing. Because it is easy to point out and say, you are not doing that one, you are not doing that one, etc. Okay? Let's begin. And then bring the other people who are responsible into that one step by step. Then the transformation will take place. As Mahatma Gandhi would used to say, the change that you wish to see in others, let that change begin with you. So if you see the world is at stake, certain things has to start with me and be firm in communicating that one. And then definitely I think what you are sharing will take place. Yeah, yes.
I want to share, I feel we had a miracle during Adoration here in our parish. A friend of ours, Dee, she sent a message to me and Jim O'Neill, and our friend Terry, about somebody that was in her wedding, this gentleman. And he called her and said, he was in his 70s, having a lot of health issues, memory issues, and whatever. And Dee sent this message saying, hey, can you reach out to this fella? She said, I'm literally concerned for his soul because he was estranged from his family. He was a long-time gambler and just was separated from everybody. And so I get this message, but it was on a Saturday. I didn't really look to it till later that night. Well, it turned out my friend Jim sees this message, sees who it is, and he goes, oh my goodness, he goes, that was my football coach at Bonner, and he played football for him. So he immediately called him, and he said, hey, Joe, blah, blah, blah. He said, our friend Dee, wants us to talk to you. And so he starts talking to him, and he said, hey, how about if he says, he took him out to breakfast. And then he said, let's go to, he says, I'll meet you and we'll go to Mass. So for 6 months, they would go to Mass at St. Francis here or St. Augustine, for 6 months. He met him at church, and then he would go after breakfast with him afterwards. So finally, I was talking to him, I said, how's he doing, blah, 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 and we were talking, I said, well, you know what, he really should go to confession. It was 6 months, I said, do you think he'll go to confession? So we talked to him, and he said, yeah, he's going to go to confession. So Jim talked to Father Al, and Father Al was coming to do benediction, and he said to him, well, look, bring him to adoration. And he said, and I'll do confession for him, after adoration. So we set it up on a certain day, and Jim was explaining to him, he has not been to, confession in probably, 30, 40 years or something like that. So he's like, no problem. So I'm at adoration that day, and I knew that Joe, I was just praying that he would just show up and come. And there was this woman in adoration, and I never saw her before. And so, it came to 12 o'clock, and I see Joe comes in about 10 to 12, and I had to leave, and I left. But this woman, I just remember her because, I just never saw her before. So Jim then tells me, he goes, Barb, he called me, and he says, I took Joe up to adoration, or, back to the sacristy for a confession, and I come back, and this woman comes up to him and is in tears and crying, and she says, that is my brother that you were with. She says, I don't understand. She says, what's happening? And so Jim explained that, hey, I've been going to church with him for the last 6 months, and he's actually having his confession, heard. And the woman was just overwhelmed. And so I got a chance to see her the next day. She came back to Adoration. This was the first time she ever came to Adoration. She was visiting somebody. And she just looked it up. She shows up at Adoration. She sees her brother. And so the next day she came to Adoration, and I was talking to Jim, and she comes up to us, same thing, and she was crying. And she says, you know what? She says, I've been praying for years for him. He caused a lot of problems in our family. And she says, I don't care if he makes up with me. She says, but I was just praying for his soul, to come back. And so it was just incredible. So then, the funny thing was, Jim shared with me that when he was taking Joe back to the sacristy, he sees his sister and he goes, I don't want to talk to her. So I said, okay, well, something else we have to work on. Get him back to confession, one step at a time. But anyway, that was our miracle at Adoration. And I haven't seen her since, you know what I mean? But the fact that she was there, and I felt that it was such a healing thing for her and her family, because the next day she said to me, I called all my siblings, and she said, you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you. And so it was just a wonderful thing for their family.
Yes, the effect of prayer, I mean, that's again, even to the souls in purgatory. I think there is a slide you will see in the adoration that you pray for souls in purgatory, the conversion of people in your family is so powerful. And I have so many witnesses and testimonies of this one. So definitely that's again another thing that you can do during the Eucharistic adoration. And this is what I personally do. Also, one of the things that was rocking the church, really affected the church is a sexual scandal, if you know, with the church. That's what I have taken as a personal responsibility, and in our seminary, to pray every day for the victims and for the transformation of the priest, because that is very important. And definitely you also need to pray that one in your Eucharistic adoration. Very, very important. Very, very important. And I have seen healings taking place, in the change and transformation taking place. My dear brothers and sisters, the effect is so tremendous and so tangible, and you can see the renewal that is taking place in the life of the people tremendously. It's absolute, and there is no doubt, because our God is a living God. Our God is a loving God. Our God, in the person of Jesus Christ, is real. He journeys with us, and you can experience Him so tangibly in the Eucharist and in the adoration. Let that be your personal experience. Yes?
Just real quick. Father Michael Rush, during the COVID, even though we couldn't attend Mass, he extended adoration. What was it, from 8 to 12? He extended it till 4 o'clock. So we were so blessed. And, let me tell you, Governor Murphy is not the easiest person to deal with. But our churches opened up after 2.5 months. And with having that adoration, I think it made a big difference, because a lot of the churches in the country did not as well. So I credit that. And it was such a healing thing for me, because being a daily communicant, I was like, what am I going to do now, right? So to be able to go there every day, from Monday to Friday, was right. It was a blessing.
Yeah.
So I was so grateful to Father Rush and for the other adorers that kept it open too, because without them, on daily, which we still need, daily adorers. And especially that last hour, that holy hour, 11 o'clock.
And he even had it open on the weekends.
In the weekends?
He had it, but not adoration. But
Right.
So the church was open 7 days, so it was incredible that, I had a place to go every day. So, that was just wonderful. So.
Yeah, so I think it's a very good thing. I think still we have the adoration. It's a beautiful thing, and I see, because whenever it's possible, I go in for adoration, as well as I try to do the benediction if possible every day, practically while I am here, because I enjoy doing that. And it's a beautiful thing, and I really admire all of you for taking time to come, because as I said, that's a beautiful experience. That changes. That definitely changes, yes.
That brings me to the question, what is the difference between adoring Jesus inside the tabernacle where we know he is present and adoring Jesus in the monstrance?
Yeah. So that is what the many people ask that question. This is my answer. When something is veiled and unveiled, how do you see? The personal experience of Jesus, when it is exposed and adored, is very personal, and it is very, very unique experience. You are able to see. As a human, we need to see and experience. As I told you, you can tell your son, I gave you a hug 20 years before or 10 years before. It is there. It is something different. At this particular moment, he is experiencing a pain. I just hold him and give a kiss. The change and the transformation is tremendous. That can never be taken away. Then, without exposed Blessed Sacrament, we always say that, Jesus is there, I can go in. Again, a personal decision and a choice that you make. Let me say this way. If, suppose, our church here in St. Damien were to say that all of you are welcome, Jesus is there in the Blessed Sacrament, it is there in the tabernacle, whenever you can come and make your personal adoration. How many would have come? Tell me. Tell me. Yeah, you would have come, maybe few. Very few. Am I right, yes or no? Very few. But still you will have a longing to see and to experience in a way very tangibly. That's our human experience. Am I right? That is why church has understood this experience of not in the veil, the unveiling, we are able to humanly and tangibly experience the person of Christ, Jesus in the Eucharist. That's very important. That's very important. Yes, I think it's almost 1.5 hours. I think we have to close it. I know we have other things to do. And once again, thank you very much, and God bless you all. And please continue to pray.
Should I make an announcements and then
Yeah.
pray? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let me make some announcements, and then Father will do the final prayer and give us a blessing. Let's see. Okay, so if you didn't sign in, please sign in, okay, with Jenny. And I will post this on YouTube. So, and I'll send the link out to everybody's email who I have. If you're not getting my emails on these events and you want them, again, give Jenny your email, and I'll be sure to inform you of future events, plus also send you the link when we post Father's talk here today. And I think I heard you say we can post the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Because he didn't show all the slides, so I'll post that also if you want to see the rest of the slides. Just to reiterate some of the things you heard, right now we're having Eucharistic Adoration. It's always at St. Augustine. That's what we're doing right now. And we have it from 7:30 to noon. And on Labor Day, it's going to change because the Mass the daily Mass will go down there. So we'll have the 8:30 Mass, and Eucharistic Adoration will then be from 9 to 1. Okay. So you've probably all done this, but if for some reason you haven't, that's there for you, and that will continue, God willing. The other thing is Barb is the coordinator for scheduling to be sure someone is always there. Okay, you're encouraged to stop in for a couple minutes, and I see that happen all the time. People come in for 5, 10, 20 minutes. But if you'd like to help out with Barb to being sure people are there, stand up, just wave your hand. This is Barb here, so if you're interested in that, give her your name and number, and I encourage you to do that. So I mentioned before, we're having a farewell, shed a tear for Father, on this Thursday after the 8:30 Mass right here at 9 o'clock. And then the final thing is, so we will continue these things on Mondays. Next Monday, we're going to Father Tony DiBardino. And he's been saying Mass here since Father Tom came, Father Tony DiBardino, a very interesting and very reflective and spiritual priest. Ginny and I have known him for over 20 years. So he agreed to come in and give us a presentation. That's next Monday, same time, same place. So I encourage you to join us. And I think that's it. Father, give us a...
Very good. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
May Almighty God bless you, the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Have a blessed day. Thank you once again.
Thank you.